think that helping create a groundbreaking television network that shaped music and pop culture for decades would be enough material for an interesting biography. But for Tom Freston, being the co-founder of MTV is just one part of his fascinating life. He chronicles his global escapades in TV and beyond in his 2025 memoir, Unplugged, Adventures from MTV to Timbuktu. Hey, it's Matt. Thanks for listening to Loudlit. I appreciate the feedback and positive vibes on the first 2 episodes. Short-form book reviews are not the type of podcast episodes I'm used to making, so it's been a fun challenge. I'm sure the show will evolve as it moves along. One note before we get to the review, eventually the posting schedule will be more like every other week rather than weekly, basically because I'm a slow reader. Yeah, brilliant idea for a guy who reads slowly to create book-related content. But I'm having fun with it, and it is pushing me to spend more time reading, which was one of my personal goals for this project. On this episode, I'm reviewing a biography of someone I definitely heard of, especially during my college years, but knew very little about. You see, I went to St. Michael's College, a small liberal arts school in Vermont, and I get the alumni magazine so I can keep up on what's happening back there. It has a section on alumni who've recently published books, and when I saw there was a memoir by Tom Freston, I had to check it out. Along with U.S. Senator and actor in 2008's The Dark Knight, Patrick Leahy, Tom Freston is probably the most well-known alum from our small school. His claim to fame? Being a co-founder of MTV, as well as former president of Viacom Media. But as you learn in this book, his life entails so much more than that. Freston graduated from St. Mike's in 1967 and then got an MBA from NYU. After college, he lived in New York and Aspen. Even though he spent a good amount of time immersed in hippie and beatnik culture, he knew he had something to offer the business world. Freston had an entrepreneurial drive and a strong business acumen, but he also had an iconoclastic spirit. His first big step on his career path led him to advertising on Madison Avenue. He was good at his job, but found the work soul-sucking. For example, he had a strong anti-Vietnam War stance, which meant he hated having to market G.I. Joe toys, which he considered war propaganda. The final straw came while he was writing ads for mouthwash. According to Freston, mouthwash is a scam, and Procter & Gamble knew it was ineffective at fighting bacteria, so they had to write ad copy that played on people's fears without making legally false statements. Tired of misleading the public, Freston decided to quit his job and trek across the Spanish Sahara. His adventures took him and his various nomadic companions across the world to places like India, where he started a clothing company, and his personal favorite spot, Kabul. In fact, a large portion of the book is devoted to Freston's wild travel tales that predate his time at MTV. You might be wondering how traversing deserts led to helping create a groundbreaking television channel, but trust me, the connection is there. Once the book gets to the founding of MTV in the early 80s, the adventure stories don't stop. In fact, they only get wilder. From VMA debauchery to the time he and Jimmy Buffett almost got kidnapped by Al-Qaeda, saying that Tom Freston has lived a full life is a massive understatement. I was not at all prepared for just how interesting and entertaining this book would be, but once it got rolling, I couldn't put it down. In addition to the outrageous stories, though, I loved learning about Freston's business philosophies. His approaches were often unorthodox, but calculated enough to prove to be worth the risk. He worked on the famous I Want My MTV campaign, pushed for more diverse programming that led to the iconic show Yo! MTV Raps, and he steered channels like Nickelodeon and Comedy Central in directions that set them apart from competitors and helped them thrive. Holding on to his boundary-pushing beliefs wasn't easy, especially as he climbed the ranks to co-president of Viacom and struggled to convince the board that the company needed to adapt to the digital age. What really impressed me while reading Unplugged was that Freston didn't see business success and being a good person as mutually exclusive. He demonstrated that by serving as chairman of the One campaign, the anti-poverty effort in Africa led by U2's Bono. In Unplugged, he writes, "I wasn't a socialist, I was a capitalist, an aspiring entrepreneur, although I didn't believe the free market was a license to bully. I never bought the bullshit lines that greed is good, or that any abuse of employees, shortchanging of the customer, or ruthless tactic is excused by the obligation to deliver maximum profits for a faceless shareholder." We could use more Tom Frestons in this world. Hopefully some other aspiring entrepreneurs will pick up a copy of this book and decide to take the countercultural approach we desperately need today. Whether you're looking for ideas on how to take your own iconoclastic nature into the business world, or just want a fun read on someone who's been a major influence on pop culture and media, I highly recommend Unplugged, Adventures from MTV Timbuktu. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe so you can keep getting music book recommendations like this one. And if you want your own copy of Unplugged, click the bookshop link in the show notes. When you do, you'll be supporting Loud Lit as well as independent booksellers. Till next time, keep reading, keep rocking.